Nickels and Dimes Part 2, Sociology and the Psychology Behind Why You're Not Saving. So, Maslow's hierarchy was created by Abraham Maslow in 1943, and he talked about these different levels. So when Meek Mills talked about there's levels to this ish, he was for real, and he was right. So there's levels. So the first level is the physiology aspect, which is what I want to expand on, as we have to make sure that your homeostasis is right. You're getting food, you're getting water, you're getting shelter, and that you're safe. Those are the five things that you need to be concerned about in the first level, or you are. And once those needs are met in the first level, then we move to the second level. Um, we're living in a precarious time, right? There's food and water shortages. We have to pay for water. Um, the real estate is volatile. The market is volatile. People are losing their homes. What else? Where there's so many things going on right now that shelter, our food, our homeostasis, our balance. Oh, sleep is another thing, and Maslow's hierarchy, and a lot of us are walking around sleep deprived. So we have a brain that is always seeking out things that are a danger to us. We're not being we're not being preyed upon by saber tooth or anything like that, but our brain looks and calculates dangers. But if we're living in a precarious time where there's issues going on, with our shelter, with our food, with our sleep and all that, um, it's hard for us to think or look further than our nose or to look long term. Thus, the idea of YOLO was created. But the reality is, if you're lucky enough to live long enough to get older in society and you haven't put away any savings or haven't invested any money, then you're going to be like everybody else, or a lot of people that I know who didn't put any money away, who are getting older and don't have anything to show for it. And I quite frankly don't want to be one of those people. It's very, very difficult when you're 60 and you don't have a retirement fund or you don't have any money circulating. Um, Social Security for the millennials is going to be non-existent. So it's on us to be able to put our money aside for that. I know you're struggling, so am I. And like I said in the first video, I had this mindset of this um, poor mentality where I didn't have money to save. I didn't have money to do different things, and just recently I changed my perspective. And as you can see in my first video, you can see the steps and the scalable steps, the small steps that I've done in order to give myself some form of security and some form of net in order to look down the road and to help myself. So, you know, you're doing all this work, you're grinding, only to live from check to check. You got to figure out something else. The definition of insanity is to do the same thing and expect a different outcome. So what I'm doing with these videos is to help you get a better understanding on the psyche behind why you're not saving any money, or why you're not investing into money, why you're putting it into liabilities versus assets. If you're buying Jordans and you're buying $200 Nikes and all those guys, you buying $135 Gucci belts and all those things, those are liabilities. They're going to keep you from your future. You don't need to get those things because, quite frankly, nobody cares about the shoes you wear and the belt that you have on. But in reality, people do care about status. Is it misplaced? Yes, because it doesn't matter about how much money you have in the bank at this, that, and the fourth. That is irrelevant. But people care about that. And the people who care about the Gucci belt that you're wearing and the Nike shoes that you're wearing, most likely they're broke too. Because a lot of rich people, don't wear those type of things. And if they are, it's probably a one-time thing. But the real wealthy people, they're not wearing that type of stuff. So, and they're not driving Bugattis and Maseratis and all that. And if they are, they're truly, truly wealthy. But I know some people, I have met some people who are not doing that. So, start with the first video. Look at the first video, nickel to dimes, and work on paying yourself first. And it doesn't have to be a lot of money. You just have to start somewhere. You have to start building the habits of saving money, because we're not taught that in the more impoverished communities, because we're living for check to check. Even middle class is struggling, but you have to figure something out in order to make ends meet, in order to create generational wealth for your family. That's ultimately why we think long term, is to create generational wealth. You could be struggling right now, but your kids don't have to be. And that's the difference between a broke mindset, a poor mindset, and a wealthy mindset. Is being able to think long term. Don't think about today. Let me rephrase. Don't just think about today. Think about long term. It's important to do both, right? Because if you think too far ahead, you might forget or look over things that you had to do today. But you can't just think about today, because you may live long enough to see the future, and you might not have put money away to help yourself. So, Nickels and Dimes Part 2, guys. I'm going to do a 5-part series.